Thank you for watching this video on how to use LeTip Wired. This video will cover how to set up and change your information, how to send tips, tracking tips, putting dollar values to your tips, and messaging for your fellow LeTip members. You can follow along on your computer or pad while you view this video. Logging into LeTip Wired requires a username password combination that you should have received from LeTip International when you first joined. If you do not have this, then call 480-800-0301 to have a username and password set up for you. The first thing we will review is your dashboard. This is the first screen you will see when you log into LeTip Wired. What you will see on this screen are your vital statistics, such as tips passed and received, the number of members you have sponsored into a LeTip chapter, and your profile information. Notice that you can sort your tips passed and received by month and year so you can track how well you're doing when giving and receiving tips. Please note at the right top corner of your dashboard, as well as on other screens you will see, that there are links to invite a guest and passing a new tip. Since these are a regular function of what you do while a member of LeTip, these options will be readily available for you to access. We will now jump to the My Profile section. Here you can update your information, such as phone numbers, email addresses, biography, and even upload a personal video that will appear on your LeTip page. There are three sections that you can access on this page: My Profile information, Business information, and Network information. The information that you can edit is marked by the blue pencil icon. Some information on the screen cannot be edited. Note the grayed out sections. These cannot be changed. If there's an error, please contact LeTip Wired for correction. Here on this page, you can edit information about your business. You can look at each of these on your own. The Network Information tab can be used to make changes to your status in LeTip and to also view NTS training events. Here you can request a transfer to another chapter, change your category, resign from LeTip, add a video, and sign up for an NTS training session. We will now take a look at the tips dashboard. Here you will be able to see your stats on the tips you have given and received, send a tip, send an escrow tip, maintain and update the status of your tips, and create a monthly batch to report dollars in your pocket. The tips dashboard gives you an overview of your tipping activity. It shows you the tips you've sent, received, and the value reported. You can sort your information by using this drop-down. You can sort by past 12 months, this year, and last year. You can send a tip in the following ways. Scroll through the listing of chapter members, or you can enter the member's name in the search box. You may also send an inter-chapter tip by searching by chapter or by category. After selecting the member, a tip entry form appears on the screen. Note that your personal information is already entered. This you can change if the tip is not for you but for another person. The information you can change is date, tip type, inside or outside, person to contact, company name, if any, phone number, email address, and tip details. You will want to put as much information as you can in the details section. This will help inform the person you're tipping about the person who you're referring. Note the checkbox for specifying the tip value. Unless the business has been completed and you know the actual value of the tip, avoid using this. By specifying a tip value at this time will inflate your tip report and report it as dollars received when in fact the business hasn't been completed. Use the tip value box after you complete the job. If the tip contains sensitive information that you need to stay private, check this box. Only the person sending and receiving the tip will see this information. The group at large will not be able to see the private information. Sending an escrow tip is similar to sending a tip, with a few exceptions. First, you can only send an escrow tip for a category that is not represented in your chapter. Also, the escrow tip is not passed around during the meeting, nor is it given to someone who is not a member of the group. At the end of your 30-second commercial, announce you have an escrow tip and place it in the tip bucket. Again, be sure not to place a value on an escrow tip. Under the My Received Tips tab is where you can organize, filter, and close out tips, as well as provide a value for your closed tips. When you first come to this page, your tips are unfiltered, meaning you see them all. I suggest you filter what you see on the screen by its status: new, bogus, invalid, closed, working. You may apply any rules you wish, but here are my suggestions. A new tip is one in which you just received it and have not made contact with the person referred. Working is when you have made contact with the person referred. Closed is a tip that you have completed the work and were paid, or you didn't get the work and are no longer pursuing the person referred. Bogus and valid is a tip in which the person you contacted was not expecting your call, or wasn't interested in your service and didn't want to be called. If this is the case, then educate the person who tipped you on why the tip was bogus. If they continue to give you bogus tips, then contact the tip master for assistance. To change the status of a tip, select Edit Tip. The edit screen appears. Go to the status and select the appropriate status to give to the tip. Select Save Changes. If you have completed the job and were paid, then you can add the value of the tip at this time. You may also filter on a date range and by the name of the member who gave you the tip. You may also export your tip information to a comma-separated value file. You can then import that into an Excel or other spreadsheet program. The Print All button will print all the tips that are currently displayed. I suggest you select the tips you want to print, then select Print Selected Tips. This will export the information to a PDF file that you can then send to your printer. If you send a tip through LeTip Wired, I suggest you print the tip, then bring it to the meeting to pass around. The My Sent Tips tab works the same way as the My Received Tips tab. There is one additional function, and that is you can duplicate a tip by using this option. There may be a reason you can't enter the value of a tip, or you're not allowed to attach the value of a service to a name or company due to compliance reasons. In either case, you can use the batch function. You select Create New Batch, fill out the information, and save it. Warning: at this time, you cannot edit or delete any batch information. If you entered it in incorrectly, then you will need to call a tip to have it corrected. The billing section is where you can update or change your method of payment for your international dues or for anything you purchase from the web store. You may also enable auto-renew or renew your membership manually. Use the Messages section to send a text message to one or more chapter members. To use this, select Create a New Message, select one or more members, or the entire chapter, type in your message, then select Send Message. The Settings and Notifications section is an important section for you to customize. It is here that you can determine where and how information is sent to you from LeTip International or from your fellow network members. In this section, you can update your password, set your time zone, specify what email address you want to use for LeTip Wired communications, what phone number you'd like to use for text messages, and various other communication protocols. The one I want to emphasize is the tip notifications. When a tip is sent to you via LeTip Wired, you can specify to receive it by way of text message, SMS, email, or both. Thanks for taking time to review this video instruction on LeTip Wired. If you have any questions, feel free to call me.